Hello YouTube, this is the Florida Rider, heading home after a fun day out with a friend. We both had the day off today, so we thought we'd go ahead and ride, and it was fun. And we ended up in a city where he has a relative, so we stopped by to see them, and I'm heading home right now. And I'm taking the long way. I'm not too familiar with this city, but there was only one way off of the island back to the mainland, and I can read street signs, so I'm not using my GPS. Which means I'll probably end up in North Dakota. Things don't tend to go well when I don't use my GPS. Well, today I thought I'd talk about festivals and events. And basically, in my opinion, is we need more of them in the USA. We had a ton of festivals in Europe. I mean, a ton. There was rarely a weekend when there wasn't something going on that was, first of all, free, and second of all, fun. Now, that might be because inner cities are lived in Europe a lot more than they are in the USA, or it might just be because of the fact that Europeans are more into the arts than Americans are. I mean, in the USA, they cancel theater programs in schools, they cancel music programs and this and that, and just sort of boggles the mind to me, because I love the fine arts. One of the best events, at least to me, was, let's see, in English it would be called Car Free Sunday. Now, it wasn't closing off the center of the city to cars or anything like that, although that was also a very good idea. I think I should probably explain a little bit that I loved cycling when I lived in Europe. I bought a bicycle from the baker's wife. You see, there was a bakery that I would sometimes go to for lunch that was right next to the school. And I just happened to mention one time to the baker's wife that I was a little bit frustrated from not being able to find a bicycle to buy. And she said to me, "Oh, we've got one for sale. It's yours for $50. Sorry, 50 euros. And I said to her, "Really? Oh, that's awesome. Let me go ahead and have a test ride tomorrow, and we'll see if I like it." And I did. And so I bought it, and gosh, I had it for a good, perhaps 7 years or so. And it was just like a 21 speed bike, just a normal bike. It was a Trek, and I think the specific model might have been Cold Rock. Not too sure about that, I'd have to look it up. But it was a very good bike. I mean, it was a mountain bike, and yeah, it served me extremely well. Now, it was an older bike. I believe that when I bought it, it was like, I don't know, 15 years old or so. Actually, now that I think about it, I believe the original purchase receipt, which she did have, said 1991. But it didn't matter to me because it ran, and it ran quite well. Now, at one point I did have to go ahead and have the mechanical bits, like the derailleurs and everything, redone, but it was a complete redo for like $100. You see, in Germany, cycling is so popular that people overprice their second-hand bikes. And so that was still a bargain to me. I mean, I put 150 into it, other than, you know, a few tires from time to time. It was awesome. I lived right in the city center, so I would use it for commuting to and from work, as well as for fun. I mean, a big thing to do in Germany is to go cycling. So we did, because we had fantastic cycling paths, mostly along rivers, but there were also some in cities too. The city ones weren't really what I wanted, but, you know, at least we had cycling lanes in cities. And we're not talking going cycling from like 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. We're talking taking your lunch and taking a book and going out for the whole day, going out at maybe 10 o'clock in the morning and watching the sunset into the valley and then coming home around 9 o'clock at night. Sorry, back to Car-Free Sunday. Got distracted by cycling because it was so much fun. Anyway, so most cities in Germany had what was called a Car-Free Sunday, which is where they would close down one of the main arteries of the city to motorized traffic. If you had a bicycle, a skateboard, rollerblades, anything that didn't have a motor on it, you could ride in the road without the fear of being run over by someone. My city had one of the longest events, distance-wise. It was 65 kilometers on one side of the river and 65 kilometers on the other side of the river. So we would go down one side of the river and come back the other side of the river. And this event was so well supported that each little village had some kind of celebration. There were food stalls, concerts, and lots of other things. And there was a major pit stop sponsored by one of the major radio stations that had lots of weird activities and good food and everything, and there weren't very many places to cross the river in the region I lived in, and a ferry went across at this place. So they also had what we called the party ferry, which was only transporting bikes that day. And it would play either rock and roll music or hip hop, and they would spin it around a few times in the water before reaching the other side. It was awesome. Everybody loved it. Only 1 year though did I make the entire 130 kilometers. Let's see, 1 year I got a flat. Another year the person I was riding with got a flat. Let's see, 1 year I had hurt my ankle. I think I had sprained my ankle, so I could only go a little bit. I couldn't go very far. First year I was just unprepared. But this was like a huge event because Germans, like I said many times probably, really do love cycling. And everybody would do it for a half an hour with your kids or something. And then I had some other friends who were huge cyclists and did races, and they would go out and see how fast they could do it, and it was just a huge event that everybody seemed to love. And people, random people on the side of the road would hand you water, they'd all clap and everything and say, go, 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 and yeah, it was awesome. I remember 1 year, it was so hot that we pulled into this one little village because we saw a sprinkler on, and we just wanted to stand under the sprinkler. So we did. We just parked our bikes right in the dry spot, and then we just stood under the sprinkler for a while, and the people in the house came out and said the name of the event, Car-Free Sunday, and we smiled and they laughed, and it was a good time. So I think that the USA needs a few more events like this. I mean, here in Florida, at least in my part of Florida, we do have some events, but there's nothing like what I saw in Europe. Now I know I'm comparing apples to oranges and you don't need to tell me that, but something like that would be nice to see. So what do you think? Do you have a lot of major events in your area? Would you like to see more? Or do you think a car-free Sunday event would go over well in your area? It was sort of like something I just mentioned. Anyway, this is the Florida Rider about to take the Skyway. Signing off. Goodbye.